Welcome to the block.
All right, welcome back to the block, the block. I'm your host, your girl and favorite Arthur F. M. Ellis, and we have some new beautiful guests who have joined us here on the panel as we continue our conversation about the state of emergency, dating, loving, and married while Black. So today we have Rhonda and Chris Stewart, been married for 15 years, and we're going to actually talk through what it looks like to go from a failed marriage, the middle, into a successful marriage. Because I know there are some of you out there right now who could be going through a divorce or just feeling lonely because your marriage ended, or on the uptick of a new relationship. So we're going to talk through it with them. Is that okay?
Yes.
Let's do it. So we're going to let them give a little intro for themselves. Tell us a little bit about who they are.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'll start. Okay. So once again, Rhonda Stewart, thank you for having me. Thank you for having us. I work in HR. I heard you mention that as well. Work in HR professional. I've been in Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta in 2003.
Okay.
Moved to Atlanta in 2003. And we met in 2005-ish area. We met at work.
Okay.
So the taboo met at work. Love Atlanta. Love being here. I have a daughter. We have a 29-year-old.
Okay, awesome. And where did you move from?
Prior military.
Okay.
So I was in the Air Force.
All righty.
So from West Virginia, the big WV.
Okay.
Right? So I always wanted to move to Atlanta. So Atlanta, then there was the Houston area. But love Atlanta.
I love Atlanta. I love it.
So originally from Jamaica.
Okay.
I moved to Atlanta in 92 to go to school, Clark Atlanta University.
Okay.
It's been an amazing experience. Let's see, 92 Atlanta was a different place for those who are originally from Atlanta. Definitely know that the city, the state has changed, but mostly Atlanta. I am a loan officer. We own our own mortgage company, and I'm very passionate about helping people accomplish their goals and living a life better than I could have ever planned, asked God for any of those things. So thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is beautiful. So I appreciate you all's willingness to come on the show and talk about relationships. I mentioned earlier in the show that the divorce rate amongst African Americans is higher than any other ethnic group. At 60 to 70% of first marriages fail. And you all have said that you all both, this is your second marriage.
Yes.
Can you give us a little information on just what you're willing to reveal about your first marriage? And then we'll talk about the middle, finding each other, and then finding happiness and working through to 15 years of marriage now.
We don't really talk about that, no.
Not at all.
Go ahead, love.
Okay, I will start. So mentioned earlier, joined the Air Force when I was 18.
Okay.
Right? First duty station, I'm in Italy.
Okay.
Right? 18 years old, living in Italy. I think I'm grown, right? I'm grown. I meet my ex-husband in Italy. He was in the Air Force as well, right? I would say 2 years. 2 years later, we're engaged. Okay. So I'm 20 if you're doing the math, quick math, right? I'm 20. Calling home, Mom, I'm getting married. She, what? What? What's going on, right? I'm in love, right? We're getting married. And that's what it was. We got married. And then 22, right? When I realized this is not for me, right? Just too young, right? Too young to get married.
Tell us about that. It's not for me. Just marriage or the relationship?
The relationship. So I'm expecting my husband to emulate what I saw in my house. My father getting up, going to work every day, right? Coming home, all that. And at the time, once again, we're both young. I'm 20. He's 22 at the time. And he just wanted to play basketball and do his thing, right? Not go to work. So it's one of those things where it was what I expected, right, did not match what I received, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reality of it. And it was really just a fairy tale, basically.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do the work. We didn't talk about anything. Didn't know all these things, right? So at 22, okay, this is not working, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to go our separate ways. That's also the time I find out, oh, we're having a baby. Yes. So 22-year-old mind says, I can fix this, right? I can fix this. I can make this work,
Mm-hmm.
right? So at 24, that's when it was, okay, this is not working. And at the point we had a 2-year-old, but I realized that it's not working.
Because he still kept the same pattern.
Right. So still young, still growing, still
Mm-hmm.
learning. We're just not growing together,
Mm.
right? So let's just go our separate ways. And so, 24. So that's where it was, 20 to 24.
Okay.
And I would just base it all on just immaturity on both sides, on both ends.
But yet, a level of maturity to understand that this is not for me.
Right.
Because some people have that same story, yet they're still married to that person.
Right. Well,
And
give
like,
a little
when
bit.
do you know how to cut it off? What is your finish line? Yeah,
Well, a little backstory. Well, my parents are divorced as well. They're still very close. My mom passed 2 years ago, but they were still close, right? And I saw my mom raise 3 kids on her own, right?
Yeah.
I was like, my mom can do it with 3. I can do it with 1.
Right.
So that's where we were.
I love it. You had that in, like, okay, I can see it in my own life. That I don't have to deal with this. I can just,
Right.
there's better.
Repeat the question again.
Thank you. Your first marriage. Tell me a little bit about, like,
What happened?
not that you don't got to get to the nitty gritty, but
why? Maybe why it didn't work.
Why?
All right, so
what attracted you to the relationship, and then what made you exit stage left?
Got you. So met my first wife in New York through some friends, some very good friends, and they thought we would be a potentially great couple just based on our personalities, our family values, our background, our passions, music, things of that nature. And it started off definitely there. We were in love, and she was at that time, I think, in Panama. So we were writing. We truly had this like relationship being built over writing.
Oh, wow.
Right. This is late 90s going into 2000s.
Okay.
So we were writing. So there was a waiting period. There's some patience being developed, right? So prior to all of the, social media, internet, you're physically writing letters, right? You're waiting for your letter to come. So there is a level of anticipation. So I truly have to say that the relationship was being developed over time, and visited Panama, fell in love, got married. We, I think, fell in love before that.
Oh, okay.
Right. So got married. She moved here. Very family-oriented individual. So we got married, big wedding from a standpoint of families coming together because they knew each other already from New York. And after moving here, there was a period of adjustment that I think that maybe wasn't thought through. You're leaving an entire different country to come to someplace else. And that adjustment really didn't go over that well for her. So she was having challenges, just whether it's getting acclimated or not. And I saw that there was a sense of sadness and or displacement, whatever that you would call that. And I saw that in the person that I loved, right? That this was not necessarily working. And so over time, I felt that it was my job to try to figure out how to get this person back to who they were.
Right.
It just wasn't happening. Kept not happening and not happening. And you come to an understanding that you can't make anyone right, nor can you make a relationship work by itself.
The work. Yeah.
Right. So there was a time that we decided, you know what, give her some space to figure out what is it that she wanted to do. And this time elapsed, and we figured out that, you know what, this might not be the relationship that we need to be in. So there was no big hoopla about, hey, you did such and such or whatever to me.
Just grew apart.
Very disappointed. What happened after that was I went internally. I think I heard you mention earlier just an internal thing. I've always kind of been that person that
self-assess.
Yeah, you have to, if you truly want to know where you are, figure out, where you are. Like, it's kind of like a GPS. You can't get to your destination until you figure out where you are.
Your starting point.
Right? You can make all the lefts. You can have the fastest car. You won't get to where you want to go until you know truly where you are. So there was a lot of that. And in that time frame of figuring out, not even figuring out, but assessing what is it that I wanted next and wanted to do in life. So when I met this young lady sitting next to me at work. No one knew. So as a matter of fact, even at work, there was a lot of friends around or coworkers that like, you should, maybe have a conversation with Rhonda.
You have some really good people in your life that always is referring him to people. This works out for you. Yes. Have you had somebody hook you up before?
I tried it. My friends tried it, and I told them don't ever try it.
Well, they were trying to hook us up, but we were already seeing each other.
Oh, that is so cute.
The worst kept secret, right?
So, oh my God, they was trying to start some mess, and y'all already had some tea.
They was trying to have a good conversation around the water cooler. That's what it sounded like. Surrounding stew.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I really love that connection. You have a good friend circle, sound like. People that just pay attention. I don't know if my friends just don't think I belong with anybody or because I'm just like, when I was in real estate, I used to get paired up with people all the time because there's I was in the office with a lot of married people and it's just like, no way. And I'm not gonna lie, especially my Caucasian brother and sisters, baby, they don't want to see me by myself. Oh, you're not married? Come on. No, come here. So I was on so many dates, they didn't work out, but I thought that was so thoughtful of somebody say, you are a good person. I have somebody that's also a great person you all should meet. That is really cool. You just brought up something that is a dying art in culture nowadays. But go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. So there was that internal aspect of it. And as we met each other as friends, there was no intimate anything. We were just friends. We would hang out with other people in the office or we would just go out. And over time, we got to know each other. And the more we got to know each other, the more we got to know each other. That this was an amazing person.
Could you say that a little again for the people in the back that just hung out and got to know each other? And the more they got to...
Yeah, we were friends first, and we're still friends.
Is that how?
That's about what that sounds like how it's supposed to be.
Did it sound anything like your parents' conversation with you or how they met or just?
No,
I know they didn't get introduced to each other, but that friendship
so my mother, the friendship piece, yeah. My mom and dad went to the same high school together. Grew up down the street from each other, didn't know it. But let my mama tell the story. She liked my dad, but my dad wasn't trying to pay attention to nobody. Now let my father tell the story where I saved your mama from the piss infested
from the piss in the pool. Okay,
but they're very good friends in high school. My mother was actually married previously before she married my dad, but she bumped into him when my dad was in the service. Bumped into him at the mall, and she had already made her mind up she wasn't going to stay in her first marriage anyway. And I don't have quite as good a story in that sense, but my dad said that, when he saw her, he knew what he wanted and he got what he wanted. And same thing. So I tend to take my dad's side of the story. I think he saved her on the I like the way he tells the story.
It sounds like a better story.
It sounds like you're going to go with that version. I love it. I love it.
Yep.
But this is great. So when did the friendship turn romantic? I'm not trying to be all in your business, but I am trying to be all in your business. Because it's great to take people through this process. Like, this is just human. This is, it's not forced. It didn't seem forced. It just seemed like two people that naturally gravitated to each other, had things in common, and liked each other, hung out, and then it took a turn for something even deeper.
I will say, well, we've heard that it's taboo, right? Date someone at work. So with that being said, we were friends first. We were able to you see each other, you see how people interact with one another and others, right? And I was able to actually, it's kind of like your own little experiment, so to speak. You're able to see, I observe people, right? So I see how they interact, what their mannerisms are, their energy. And so with that being said, throughout the work day, we sat across from each other actually at work as well.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny.
Able to just witness how he interacted with people, how he treated people, right? How he treated himself. We're we're not on a date. He's not putting on airs.
So this
he's
is just
here
who
working.
he's in his
this is
authentic
who he
state.
is, authentic self, right? We both like to laugh, right? Don't take ourselves too seriously. So the friendship started there, and then I really can't pinpoint when it turned.
Okay, what was your first date? Your first official date outside of being friends? Do you remember?
Right.
Because this is cute. This is juicy.
It's a him story.
So again, don't listen to truly what people tell you. Like, watch what they do. If someone tells you that, how all of the previous relationships, it was the other person's fault. If someone shows you that, hey, they don't take care of their child or their mother or whatever else, don't just think that it's going to be that person. Why are you so special? So they're not going to take care of everything else, but your relationship, right? So, so the first date was MJQ's.
Was it MJQ's?
So there's a conflict in the marriage of when the first date was, right? But when we first knew that there was we're going to take the relationship to another level was MJQ's. But
was it Roussan's?
So
a combination. We'll say you
right because we were going out with friends and by ourselves, but there was nothing necessarily. There was definitely an attraction, but there was nothing intimate happening.
Right,
we were just hanging out, going to dinner or whatever else. But MJQ's was when the
turning
first
point.
Kiss kind of happened. So every time we go back to MJQ's, there is this nostalgia.
You hear the music queuing up.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're playing our song.
Right.
So.
Right.
I love it. And so going from previous divorce, dating, and were you all looking for a relationship? Like, were you intentionally like, I'm going to find my next husband, I'm going to find my wifey? Or did it just happen naturally, in your opinion?
No.
It just happened?
It just happened. I was quite content. I had peace. I had joy. When I turned the key to my house to the door,
it looked the same way it was when you left.
And it was lovely. Life, lovely. I wasn't looking. You mentioned your friends trying to hook you up. My friends already knew. No,
don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't set Rhonda up. Right? They already know. I was really content by myself with my friend circle. Right? With my friend circle. And it wasn't something I set out to do. I just really didn't want it to disrupt it, right? I didn't want to invite any nonsense. Not gonna have it. And I really had low patience for it, right? So going back to what I said initially with watching Chris and being around him at work, right? Able to see that it was the only way I'm going to date is if you enhance, right? You have to enhance. We right there. It's not here. Bring it up here. No, we start here and rise, right? So I was able to see that with him, and that's where the connection came from. And someone said earlier about, being excited to see someone, right? When you walk through the door,
mom and his dad,
right?
about
Your
his
parents.
mom.
We still have that. Like just smiling when the garage comes up. We hear, "Oh, husband's home." Like he's a long haul trucker or something. He just went to Publix, to the grocery store, and I'm like, "Oh, you're back."
That is beautiful.
It really is, and I didn't think I was going to have that. And the only way, and I had no intention of getting married. We dated for 5 years. I still didn't want to get married. I was perfectly fine.
So what made you what made you go from not wanting to get married to accepting that offer?
No.
My man. That's right. Come on, church. Now, come on.
It's true. It's true. So we moved in together,
Yes, ma'am.
right? We moved in together. And I'm like, okay, that's where it's going to be. I'm fine with this.
Good.
We could live together for the next 50 years or whatever. I'm fine with it. We don't have to go through the whole legal process, right? And then one day I woke up and I was like, I want your last name. I want us to be like one team.
Because she done took me out with that.
When I say,
oh my gosh,
Do they still make them like this?
she done took me out with that. Oh my God.
When I say
She said, I
Price,
won't.
Price is my maiden name, and I'm Price do or die, right?
She is.
I wasn't giving. And so just the overwhelming feeling I had, right? I mean, it took me out. And the way he is with our daughter. So at that time, we started dating. My daughter was 10.
Mm-hmm.
So she has her own personality.
Mm-hmm.
So he's coming in, right? I like you. Now let me, I want your daughter to like me as well. So now he's coming in. And so just his relationship with her, his interaction with her, and let me go off the topic a little bit, being a single parent, I didn't introduce them for a year.
Okay.
So she didn't even know we were dating or anything. So it was like a whole year, right, before he got introduced. So we're already in this thing for a year. So now he has to, that second relationship, right? So just the way he is with our daughter and everything. And I was just like, it was just something. I don't know where it came from, but I was like, I want us to have the same last name. I want your name, right? So that's where it came.
If there was a test, the test was over and he had passed it. That's what that was when you woke up like.
Right. When the longest relationship prior to this one that I've been in was 4 years, right? And then one day I woke up like, it's been over 4 years, right? Over 4 years.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Flies. And when I say every day, it's not I love him in spite of, right? I really like him.
Oh,
like I really, this
that
already.
Is so beautiful.
I really like him. Like he is my friend, my best friend, so.
This is beautiful. I'm so glad that you all are on the show. I want to go back to something that you said that me and I looked over at my friends on that when you said this, because we do have a friend group and we're all very individuals. I'm 52, she's 48, and the youngest person in the group, I believe, is like 29 or something. And we can get together without any foolishness because of the thing that you said. You was happy with yourself. And a person who can hang and be with themselves, that's why I tell people to go inside, because you have to like your life. And then you know what you will allow in it. If your life is in disarray, you're trying to find something to fix it.
You're trying to fill that void.
You're trying to fill that void. So it is, when I said go in the house and sit down, I was for real. Like, go get your house together and watch what happens. Watch what happens. And I love the fact that you all were not looking, because some people, I did ask people to date with intention, but your intention was just to keep your peace. And look what the universe brought you. God, the universe, whatever you would like to call it, he brought you together. Like you sleep, you're like, you my kids. I'm not going to have you just living in sin. You're going to get his last name. I'm going to put it in you. And here we are 15 years later. And the fact that it's been 15, and I can't stand people sometime after 2 weeks, and you all are just glowing, and you have an ease about you. It doesn't seem like you're putting on airs or anything. It just seems natural. Like you said, you can tell you are friends. And that is refreshing.
You don't find that no more in the city, do you?
I want you to notice not one time that they talk about where they live, what they drive, where they vacation, how many, organizations they with. They just talked about their relationship. And that is the basis of a relationship, the two people that are in it, right?
I think, I'm not sure if it was you or one of you said earlier, just in reference to knowing what things are, what's truly valuable, right? And when you know that for yourself, then other people can dictate what becomes valuable to you, right? Because you're going off of what truly is important to you. And that's significantly important because there's so much noise, right? So much information. We used to be in a place in which information used to be power. Now information is sometimes confusion and distractions. So you have to make it a very important step to decide before everything else what's important to you. Because then you'll know what to let in and what not to, right?
So you all had that discovery. You got married, and you described it perfectly about you're still so excited to see him, and when it's like he went off to war, but he just went to Publix to grab a cheese tray. What is he doing that keeps that light in you lit?
Well, we're Very similar, right? Very similar personalities, demeanor. You said something earlier regarding, consideration. It means the world.
It does.
It means the world. Like he would say, babe, love you. Thank you for everything. And I always say, I am who I am because you are who you are, right? He shows up for me the way I show up for him, right? So we show up for each other. We still say please. We still say thank you to one another. There's nothing that's taken for granted and or required, right? I go home today and cook. Thank you so much, right? So that thing. And it's just the two of us. And of course we could survive and we can make our own food and all the stuff, right? Yeah. But
you want to do it.
Bring the cup of coffee. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. You want to do it. And then the appreciation on top of that, right? So no one's walking around feeling entitled or feel like they deserve such and such whenever we do anything. So I would definitely say that appreciation and just the consideration. So we both have that consideration. We're both grateful for each other. And I think coming from, and I'll speak for myself, having that first marriage, we don't take it for granted, right? We don't take it for granted. And, we so into it. And it's not even a chore. It's just something that comes naturally.
It's natural.
I want him to be happy. He wants me to be happy. Now, if that's just your cup of coffee in the morning, that's what it is, right? But it brings you joy. If it's just me turning the stove on and making a meal, it brings him tremendous joy. And then that's what it is. It's no big grand thing. Yeah. Right? It's the little things.
It really is. The devil's in the details. They say, but the happiness is in the details. So could you talk someone through, and I love it. I wish I could I'm going to end on that, but I want to touch a point where people may be in a relationship. How do you work through conflict? What's your conflict resolution? How does that look?
So a lot of the conflict typically comes from not communicating, right? So if you already know what a challenge is, or what spurs or has a negative impact on someone's day, then it behooves you, right, to know, again, so that's the communication piece. So there's daily conflicts, but there's nothing big enough that it makes a dent in who we are or what the rest of the day looks like, right? So as a matter of fact, part of my personality is that I look for my challenges, because in my challenges, my opportunity to grow. So the conflicts are something as simple as, did we get off the right exit coming here? Right? Hey, love, I told you what exit we're getting on. So it's never so big because we don't allow it to fester. There's nothing festering, right? It's, you know what, this is what it was. And so because so I have to truly say that the conflicts are, it's nothing that would truly impact who we are and what we're doing, right? It's silly things that in 2 seconds after, I'm hugging her, leave me alone for right now, husband, right? But it's right. But that's pretty much the extent of it.
I love it. Right? And I'm sure it's like that because you all are operating from that word, consideration.
Consideration.
Definitely.
And last thing is, I think you mentioned something. No, you did, I think, earlier. When you check in with each other, it's not at 10 years from now. It's weekly. It might be, right? Hey, love, what's happening with you is daily. How did your day go? It's not, you're not going to find those things. You don't want to find out a year later that this person has been unhappy. A month later, right? Why? You could have, what you could have done to rectify it might have been so simple, right? But now it's created fester, something else.
So I will say that going back to disagreements is going back to the first marriage. Not speaking, so being immature on my side, right? I just wouldn't talk.
Passive aggressive.
Just wouldn't talk about it. I'm just going to eat it, right? I was the oldest 21-year-old walking around, right? I'm just going to eat it, right? Just walking around angry all the time, right? Or irritated all the time, right? Thinking, okay, I'll just, keep the peace, keep the peace. But meanwhile, I'm unhappy, right? So I knew that going into any situation, right, especially our relationship, I have to express myself. I have to get it out. Yeah. He doesn't always understand me. So we have evolved. Our communication styles have evolved. Earlier on, he would just dismiss it. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it, right? And I can use something as simple as football.
Mm-hmm.
We watch football. Back in the day, it was Michael Vick, right? I'm watching the Falcons to watch Michael Vick. I should tell Crit, we were dating at the time, if Mike leaves, I'm not watching the Falcons anymore.
Okay.
He's like, what are you talking about? You're a Falcons fan. No, I'm not.
I'm a Mike Vick fan.
I'm a Mike Vick fan,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
So I would use that. That just sticks out with me. He did not understand.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I don't understand what you're saying. So some of those conversations we still have, but now he recognizes he doesn't have to understand it. He doesn't have to fix it. It's just what I need.
I hear you.
Right?
Yeah,
that's just what I need. That's it, and that's all. He doesn't have to solve anything.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where our communication style and our, disagreements sometimes, he'll just make the adjustment or I'll make the adjustment. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
He would just make the adjustment.
I love it. Any last advice before we close out for our audience out there who are, in their first marriage, about to go through divorce or have already been divorced or embarking on that new relationship? Any just quick tips to just have a sustainable, peaceful relationship with themselves and the next person?
Well, you have to, it's that being self-aware. You have to know who you are. You have to be self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's kind of a catch-22, right?
Know thyself.
But to be self-aware, you need to be self-aware,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you don't realize these things about yourself, right? No one can tell you anything about yourself, right?
Right.
Clearly, I'm perfect. Whatever's going on around me, that's the issue, right? I'm perfect, right? It's the people around me that need help. I don't need any help, right? We're all human.
Yes.
We all can take a little reflection. So first you have to know what you want.
Amen.
Enjoy yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy your company, right?
Yeah.
And then, why would you want to invite someone into something that you have going on? Why would you, for a distraction? You mentioned being bored earlier.
Yeah, boredom.
We need to stop with the distractions.
You just go home and sit
We just
down.
want to be distracted. Just want to be distracted all the time. Just want to fill up the time. No, know who you are, right? Work on yourself. Be the person that you want to bring to the table. The same person you want coming to the table. You want to be that person. Definitely. And be open. Be open. Not, let's go back to weight or height or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Be open to the person and their character. And
That they may show up in a different package than you put on a piece of paper.
Exactly. I
love
swore I wanted someone 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
I used to say it all the time. I was like, no, you got to be 6'5".
Yeah.
Right? And going back what you said, the Lord is like, you have no earthly idea, right?
What I got
you
for
have
you.
no earthly idea what I have for you.
I love it. Any last words, Chris?
Be open to growing, right? Because just because it's a seed right now, it doesn't mean that it can't become your greatest fruit tree, right? So just be open to growing. What God has for you is oftentimes greater than what you're putting in, but you have to be willing to get planted, right? So
yes, and don't see it as being buried, huh?
No, just get planted, and oftentimes what comes from it is so much greater than what you put in. But you got to just go through the process, right? So
thank you for that.
yeah.
Dr. Julio, you want to take us out of here?
I mean, I think we've got a whole lot of gems that they just
We
dropped.
did. I mean, we could open up a jewelry store.
I'm saying. So, I mean, you guys have, listening to you all have given me continued motivation to try to find that good thing, which is, as you get older, that's what you start to focus on. And y'all have just reminded me in this conversation that what matters is the person, because if you have the right person, you can persevere and push through whatever. So that's something that I'll definitely carry with me. And I hope everybody else that watches this takes what they've given us and carries that with you as well.
Absolutely. I don't have anything else to say. It's perfect. So I hope you take up residency on the block by subscribing, hitting the subscribe button. And until next time, I'm your girl, your host and favorite author, FM Ellis. Best of life to you all. Peace.